Yo,
Yo, what's up, Adam?
what's going on, Mason?
Not
Happy New
much.
Year.
Oh yeah, Happy New Year! First recording of the new year.
Yep, we're
Wild.
back. We're live, and we're here, new men. We've changed. New
Yeah.
year, new us. But you know what's not new?
What's not new?
Our sponsorship. We're still
Oh,
rolling with Shoes Pizzeria into 2024. You know, it's January, probably the most depressing month of the year. Um, The holiday season's behind us, and all that's left is a cold, dreary winter and an empty wallet.
yep,
But you still need to eat.
yep.
And so, what you need to do is head on down to Shoes Pizzeria, where you can find unbelievable food at inexpensive prices. It's a family friendly restaurant that offers dine in, takeout, and even delivery. You can get a salad and continue to lie to yourself that you're going to lose weight, or do what I do and just get their pizza, wings, subs, and realize that the new year is not actually going to bring any change. All of these things are made to order, and there's no heat lamps at Shoes, so everything, as soon as it's done, it comes out. So what the hell are you waiting for? Go take your family down to Shoes Pizza for the best pizza, wings, and subs in Valparaiso, Indiana since 2010. Give them a call, 219-476-7463. That's 219-476-SHOE. And now, Mason, we're on to the first pod of 2024.
Woo! Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yep,
Let's
and we're
do it.
talking we're talking hospitality giants today.
Ooh.
But the first thing I want to talk about is the new surroundings I'm in right now.
Ooh. Looks
I've got
cool. What's that
the
box?
the hospital grade lighting in this studio right now, which will be fixed by the time we have the next podcast recorded.
Yeah.
But bought a house.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
Between last podcast and this podcast, you bought a house?
Um, in between when the last podcast was recorded, not since it was released, but since the last podcast was recorded and this one's being recorded, bought a house, moved in, and now we're feeling that new homeowner stress and
Ain't
lack
that a
of
fun one?
money, which is just
uh,
fantastic. So yeah, this is gonna be the new studio. Gotta definitely do some decorating and some changes.
Add your
Um,
personal touch. Definitely
yeah,
needed.
yeah. And that's going to be a wine cellar at some point back there. So it's going to be pretty
Ooh.
cool.
Something for us to dig
Um,
into.
yeah, yeah. All of my office stuff and decorations are still in boxes. And my desk is still currently wrapped in plastic wrap. So
It's
here we are.
perfect. Great
Yeah,
setup.
yeah.
Perfect.
But all of these hospitality giants that we're talking about today, they started at
Some point somewhere.
some point somewhere, and it definitely wasn't at the top where they are now. So our kind of definition of hospitality giants are the most influential industry professionals that have impacted our careers and many others. Obviously, this list is not a full blown list of everyone because that would take us forever. So don't get mad if we missed your culinary hero. Um, Sorry about it, but again, we can't list everyone. And these are more so specific to us and our careers, going through CIA, for culinary school, people we worked for after, and just kind of, we'll kind of start with some honorable mentions and some childhood heroes of ours. Um, and then we'll get into more of like you know, new school slash current culinary giants, I guess, if you will. So, Mason, you
Yeah,
want to start us off with some honorable mentions and childhood heroes?
absolutely. Would love to, Adam. Um, but first, real quick, what are you drinking tonight?
Oh, how could I forget?
I know.
Um, I am drinking some Frank Family Vineyards Zinfandel 2019.
Word,
Um,
word.
got it as a housewarming gift from our mortgage lender.
Hmm.
So Liv and I had a little adult Lunchable for dinner, aka a charcuterie board,
Nice.
and decided it's been a long week and it's only Monday of house stuff, so decided to crack open a bottle of Zinfandel.
I love it. I love it.
Mason, what are you drinking tonight?
Yeah, I've got myself a little whiskey, little boss hog action going
Nice.
on, and just a little whistle pig. I love it, and I'm
Oh, yeah.
I'm thirsty.
Well, cheers to that.
Cheers. Anyways, let's get back into our giants. Well, the big one that I would assume, that's a bad way. The big one that the culinary focused people have just dedicated their lives to understanding and learning from. One of the probably biggest names in culinary history, but also that's hard to say because there has been so many of them
Mhm.
so influential. But specifically to us is Escoffier. What a man who just created such a new world of food, and probably popularized and traditionalized French cooking methods to the T for us here in America, and I would say the general public across the world.
Yeah, and I mean
He, go
he's
ahead.
the one who came up with the five mother sauces of French cuisine. I mean, or he's the one that was published of doing that. I'm sure there's people doing it before. But
I'm
yeah,
sure.
so the five like mother sauces that are said to basically all other sauces are derivatives or kind of remixes of those five sauces, um, which is a pretty big deal.
That
Mason,
is.
can you still name the five mother sauces of French cuisine?
Ooh. Put me on the spot here. We didn't even practice. Gosh, I really should be able to, definitely off the top of my head, but let's see. There is the brown sauce.
Which is called
Oh gosh, demi-glace. No, that's not it.
nope.
No, no.
Demi-glace is a
Is
derivative.
oh, yep. Damn. See, I'm so bad. All right. What is that one again called?
That's called Espanol.
Espanol sauce. Wow. Then we've got
That's
uh,
one.
hollandaise.
Hollandaise is two.
Then we've got, man, I'm just blanking so hard. You're just putting me on the spot. I'm not ready. Fuck, tomato.
Tomato is one.
Yep. And man, I got fucking chicken stock. Nah, I got nothing. All right, why am I so bad at this?
One is bechamel,
Mm,
and I think the fifth one is velouté.
yeah, definitely. That is that
But
chicken related.
for some reason, I want to say mayonnaise is one of the five. But let me
That's
look
not
it up.
right. You know,
It
you're
might
putting it on
be.
the spot and you're not even ready.
It might be velouté. So we got to do a
It
quick
is 100% that one, but
velouté.
because hollandaise or mayonnaise would be a essential base from hollandaise because it's an egg
So
based sauce.
we were right. So it is bechamel, velouté, espagnole, tomato, and hollandaise.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah,
I need to go back to my culinary practicing because
that's
it has
right.
been way too long since I've just thought about all the five mother sauces.
Yeah, and his recipe is like because I did a research project on Escoffier in culinary school, and his recipes like I still have his cookbook in one of the many boxes that we haven't unpacked yet, and his recipes are the most like classic French food is some of the like random and like kind of disgusting sounding foods. Like there's one I remember. It's like lobster cooked in espagnole sauce, which espagnole sauce is basically like roux and beef stock. So like you cooked lobster in like this thickened beef gravy, and I think they put like cheese on it or something like. I was like, what the hell is going on with this stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but shout out to Scapier. He's the homie. Um, he's the one who
Definitely.
started it all. I mean, in on paper, you know.
For sure. Well, moving on to another honorable mention. Let's go with the big Paul Bocuse. Probably one of the most known chefs to us culinarians, the most iconic guy, the most iconic idea, symbol of a professional chef of exactly what we should be and who we should become. The father of Nouvelle Cuisine, and just honestly the chef father of the century.
Hmm.
I think he has the most iconic look with his chef hat, nice and tall. He is talked about and notified or notable about in Ratatouille. You know, just great.
Shout out Remy.
Yeah, shout out Remy, one of the chefs who started it all for me. Just kidding. That was before. That was after my time. But man, and he's got a restaurant named in our at our old school,
Yeah, or alma mater.
alma mater.
Yep. Bocuse Restaurant.
Bocuse.
Yeah.
I never worked in there, but I should
Yeah,
have.
I never did either because the chef was not a very nice person. So
Yeah.
Mace and I avoided that like the plague. And we
And I'm
worked
glad I
at
did. I stayed happy.
yeah, we worked at the like American restaurant, which is called American Bounty.
And then also
Um,
the Italian restaurant.
yeah, which was Caterina de Medici. But yeah, we did not work at Bocuse because the chef was an absolute nightmare. Um, yeah, one of the few chefs at CIA that I really didn't vibe with. There's him, and then one of our chef that we had for our Asian cuisine.
Mm.
Not a big fan of hers either.
Yeah. Actually, surprisingly enough, though, after her class, we got along really well.
Yeah, she was weirdly nice after the class. Maybe it's just like this intimidation thing.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe she also realized that we were good students.
Yeah.
Who cared?
Yeah, that's true. Next, Julia Child, probably one of the most recognizable, like across the board. I mean,
who hasn't heard of Julia Child?
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't, where have you been? Like, did you not see Julia and Julie and Julia or whatever that movie was called? Where
did you not turn on your TV ever?
Yeah, I mean, she is basically was kind of a new like someone basically who didn't grow up cooking, and she went to like an all men culinary school, and basically like showed him up and was a boss bitch in the culinary school, and like ended up paving her own future in a career in cooking. Known for her super like kind of high pitched. What was she? Was she French?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think she might have been French. But you know, like very big personality. You know, just kind of like the first. I hate to say like first female like chef TV presence. She kind of paved the way for that, and especially like someone that wasn't a
she was born in California.
trained. Oh, was she?
Yeah.
She had a very strict. Maybe it was just the like. I feel like she had a very like the way she talked, or the way I remember her talking on TV. Like she has a very distinct accent, which I don't know where it comes from, but anyway, you know,
maybe it was all part of the show. I don't know.
Maybe, but she's got a ton of award-winning cookbooks. She's she had world-renowned TV programs. She passed away a couple years ago. Actually, it might have been longer than that. I don't know. She's been gone for a little bit. Next honorable mention, Joel Robuchon. Basically has the most Michelin stars of any chef in the world. 31 Michelin stars, I think, before he passed away in 2018 or 2019. And plus a lot of really, really great restaurants that are in cities that just don't have Michelin guides. Kind of the Michelin goat, if you will. The next most is, I think, Gordon Ramsay, um, and he has like 17 or something like that, or 21. But
Wow.
just goes to show you like how Gordon Ramsay, which we'll talk about him later, but like everyone knows Gordon Ramsay, right? Like
Right.
not many people know Joel Robuchon unless you're like into Michelin and into classic French haute cuisine, like unless you're really into the food world, you probably don't know who Joel Robuchon is. It just goes to show you like some of the best chefs never really see spotlight, but
Not.
some do.
Yeah.
Um, it's just kind of crazy. And then the last one would be Ferdinand Point, which is kind of the father of modern French cuisine. And I don't know about you, Mason, but I feel like Ferdinand Point and Escoffier, I don't think they were even alive in the same like time period. They might have been, I don't remember. But they're kind of like the two people I remember learning the most about in like those early stages at CIA. Like,
Yeah.
hey, do this research project. You get to pick Escoffier, Point, you know, so and so, so and so, so and so. And those were kind of like
The big two that kind of hit you
mhm,
every time. Yeah.
yeah.
And those were all like the formal chefs. And then we kind of went into the more present world.
Mm,
And that brought us into the newer kind of chefs that are big names alive, like Gordon Ramsay himself, who is still alive to this day, kicking, screaming, making some fun TV shows for us to really enjoy, and setting the standard for our culinary world.
mhm. Yeah, I mean, absolute menace.
Definitely.
He's might know him from Hell's Kitchen. Like I said, I think he's number two on the Michelin Stars awarded, which to me is kind of the craziest part of Gordon Ramsay
Is because
because
he's a TV chef and then that as well.
yeah, I mean, I feel like most TV chefs, like you think of say Guy Fieri, right? Like Guy Fieri is like this big TV personality, but his restaurants are kind of failing sinking ships that are in like Vegas and Atlantic City and New York City and like all these big cities that he's not really in control of them. He's more of like the, you know,
Spokesman.
spokesperson for them. And then you have Gordon Ramsay, who's like probably arguably the most predominant TV chef figure ever,
Yeah,
and he's also got 21 or 19 Michelin stars on top of that. Like that's crazy.
he's no joke.
Um,
He knows what he's talking about when he talks about food.
so
He
when he's yelling at those random people on
What are you? I'm an
Hell's
idiot
Kitchen,
sandwich.
an idiot. What are you? An idiot sandwich. He's the real deal. Like
Yeah,
again, some of the times, like I think he gets a little worked up and a little emotional, but if you've done what he's done and you've seen what he's seen, like at least he's earned that in some way, I guess you could say.
that's a great way to put it for sure. I think his yelling and screaming is something that we're all very familiar with and know of. I think that's what brought us to him. But I
Mm-hmm.
do feel like over the years now, or at least as he's aged, he's kind of calmed down a little bit, gotten to the level where he realized he shouldn't be just screaming and yelling at everybody. He should just be correct in a manner that actually will hit a little bit better.
Yeah, yeah,
But also that
and
might be the changing world here.
yeah, yeah. We're not gonna get into that.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah. Next would be Thomas Keller,
Big
um,
T, Big
Big T,
TK.
Big TK. He is kind of known for kind of helping get a lot of the Michelin and World's 50 Best chefs, at least here in America, like their start. Like he kind of was here before any of them, and they either went to his most famous restaurant, French Laundry in Napa Valley, or they were inspired by what he did out there and kind of paved their own path, right? Um, he's kind of like I mean, he's the goat. Like he is an amazing chef. Kind of established like from what I've heard, like a no nonsense kitchen, like very quiet kitchen, no extra noise that doesn't need to be made. Um, he's got a restaurant in New York called Per Se, and didn't have the best experience at Per Se, but we were also kind of loitering in the lobby, and we got told to leave. Um, so fair enough.
Fair enough.
But again, he's kind of the, I would say, more like less televised version of Gordon Ramsay in a different way, but kind of the no nonsense, setting high standards of like extreme fine dining cuisine.
Yeah,
Um,
I think we could say, if you've seen, which we'll get into again a little bit later, the TV show The Bear, the first episode where they're
mhm,
just kind of whispering in the kitchen and telling each other how pieces of shit they are. Well, not that he said those things, but that he would hold those people to that highest
yeah.
standard of like, I expect you to be the motherfucking best. You better
Hmm.
raise your game. You better bring it to the next level. You better push yourself beyond all belief.
Yeah.
Kind of action.
Yeah. I mean, you said it perfectly there. I mean, like that's Thomas Keller. And actually, I've got a buddy, and I think RJ.
Yeah.
He was my roommate in Italy, and he worked for Thomas Keller at French Laundry for a long time. And he actually left maybe earlier this year or late last year, and took over a restaurant in Dallas. And now he's getting like all sorts of press about how amazing this restaurant is. It used to be Curtis Stone's restaurant called Georgie in Dallas, and now it's like getting all this national recognition, and like RJ is the executive chef, which is pretty cool.
That is really
Um,
cool.
which like for those listening who know RJ, and if RJ's listening, shout out to you.
Yeah, man.
Um,
Good job.
like RJ is the most dedicated and like talented person that I probably ever like cooked alongside. He was just like always like I roomed with him in Italy, and RJ is not on this like list of you know culinary giants, not yet at least. Um, but that's the kind of person that excels in a place like French Laundry, is like just uber talented. Anything he touches like turns to like perfection, and like now he's left it and he's doing his own thing, just like some of our other culinary giants that we'll talk about later. And the last kind of honorable mention, Emeril Lagasse, chef from New Orleans. He's got a bunch of cookbooks, best-selling author, 19 cookbooks, which is crazy. And
Fun
Mason
fact.
made a note, which is a fun fact. Mason, you want to share your fun fact about Emeril?
Yeah, he was the first celebrity chef to develop meals for NASA astronauts.
It's pretty cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And Emeril is kind of my childhood hero. I grew up watching Emeril on I don't even think it was called Food Network. I think it was the Cooking Channel. And he had his show Emeril Live, and he would be in front of a live audience every day or every time. And his punchline was, "Bam, let's kick it up a notch." And so, like as a kid, I would always have my fake plastic food that I would be cooking, and it got to the point where I had to go start seeing a speech pathologist because I started to speak like I had a Brooklyn accent living in New Orleans, Louisiana. And my grandma was talking to my mom. She's like, "You gotta like get that kid some speech help because he's gonna be talking like he's from Brooklyn, living in New Orleans." Yeah, I was like, I was
That's
speaking
pretty.
just like Emeril Lagasse when I was like 4 years old. Because it's like when you're really young, you kind of are a sponge, right? Like whatever your kind of
attracted to, you become.
living around and you're experiencing, you kind of just like, okay, that's my accent. Like, I'm gonna talk like Emeril Lagasse now.
Yeah,
So yeah, Emeril is, and he's kind of the person who kind of piqued my interest cooking from a super young age. So yeah, shout out to Emeril because he's the goat. Um, they're all these people are the goat. Obviously, it's we're talking about all these huge names.
that's for
And
sure.
Mason, you want to get into kind of our more we'll call this modern day and fictional heroes in the culinary giant game
Yeah, that's a good way
or
to
hospitality
phrase.
giant game because they're
Yeah.
not all culinarians.
Well, we'll start fictional with Cameron from The Bear and just
Carmen,
Carmen. Sorry, why did I say Cameron? Don't
Carmen.
know why. Anyways, it's the whiskey. Ah, I love it.
When
Anyways,
honestly, like if you read it really fast on our document, it kind of does look like Cameron
yeah,
because all you really have to do is flip the M and the R.
yeah.
Anyways,
Anyways,
Carmen.
Carmen. Anyways, from The Bear, and just when that TV show hit, it really made a statement in our world, and
Mhm.
I think it really brought to light the facts and the things that we as restaurateurs do and face every day to work in this hospitality world, to serve the general public, to make amazing products, and the shit that we have to deal with both internally and externally just to make things happen for the guest.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, it's what a great show, and the detail to it was phenomenal.
Mhm.
Just making what I feel like we live day in and day out truly there for everybody to see.
Yeah, and I feel like there's been a lot of like chef inspired movies. The one with Bradley Cooper, I think it was called Burnt. Like I
That was
think
a great one.
that one was good too. The chef movie was pretty good as well.
Yeah, that one was a lot of
Um,
fun.
mhm.
Fun fact, everybody. The the inspiration of that was our graduating speaker too.
Yeah, El Ideas, Philip Foss,
Yeah,
and his restaurant in Chicago, El Ideas, phenomenal. I've eaten there I think 2 times, and it's a BYOB one Michelin star tasting menu. So like the first
fun.
time I was in there, Liv and I were dining there, and I always bring wine, right? Like I don't really know what the menu is going to be, but it's like okay, I'm going to bring a champagne, I'm going to bring a red wine, and someone brought in a whole bottle of Woodford Reserve. And they'll
Uh,
give you mixers and stuff. Like they'll give you soft drinks and they'll give you, different things. They just don't have a liquor license. And the next time, some people brought in a case of beer. And so like it just kind of is that's the
fun.
fun part, right? Like,
Yeah,
you know, just and the food is great. Both times I ate there, it was amazing. So yeah, shout out Philip Foss too, because he also gave a super, super, super humbling graduation speech too. Like it was almost because it was from our associate, so it was like that's the culinary, more culinary focused side of it. And then Mason and I both stayed for our bachelors, which is more of like that's when you can kind of split off into like different things. So Mason and I both did business. Then Mason split off even further and did the wine concentration. I split off and did the Italian concentration. Um, but anyways, speech it was like that's like we finally made it through CIA. We did it. We made it. And his speech was basically like, "You're all nothing, and you're not chefs, and you have to earn that title." And I was like, "The fuck is this guy?" And then after a while and kind of digesting it, I was like, he could have maybe delivered that message a little bit more like gently, but this isn't a gentle industry, right? Like it's a
not at all.
cutthroat. And
It was a
after
great way to like graduate for us, I
Yeah.
think.
And honestly, the first time I ate at El Ideas, I told him that he was our graduation speaker. And I was like, yeah, you were a real hard ass up there, chef. And he's like, well, he basically just like, yeah, I'm not gonna apologize for it. Like, I was like, this guy's badass. Like, and his food's great. Like, he backs it up. He's
Yeah,
probably the most memorable dish I had at the restaurant was foie gras Twix. So he basically like instead of like the
raw Twix.
yeah, it's like basically like this little skinny Twix bar, and
Yeah,
instead of it like being that kind of what's in a Twix? Is it nougat?
something like that, or wafer nougat thing.
It was basically like foie gras in place of like that kind of wafery nougat type thing, and then there was still some sort of caramel, and then it was covered in dark chocolate and like flake sea salt, and holy fuck, it was so good. And the second time we went, there was a table that didn't eat foie gras, so they had extra ones, and so they knew we had been in before, and we brought some friends, so they're like, oh, this table didn't eat their foie gras. Do you want it? And I was like, hell yeah, I
Yes.
want it. I'm not gonna say no to free foie gras Twix bars. Um, but yeah, so yeah, chef movie. So that was a long tangent.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Chef, honestly, like even with those other TV shows and movies and stuff, I think Chef, The Bear was by far the most realistic look into and they give you different perspectives of different characters throughout that show, which I love, right? Like,
And
because
jumping
there's
from back to front as well, which is
mhm.
really great.
Yeah, because it's like there's so many different personalities that make up a restaurant, right? And like everyone kind of has their own story outside of what they do at work. And I think Bear kind of really shows all the different sides and all the different facets of not only the restaurant industry and how hard it is, but also kind of how much your personal and social and mental health can suffer and be super chaotic and not great if you're not careful. So at times it was very the show is a little triggering to watch, just because I know like Mason and I and so many of our friends have lived very similar situations, and kind of watching a show that has been your life for a long time is not like you kind of watch TV to escape from your reality, and then you're watching TV that basically
Is your
is
reality?
your reality. Um,
Uh,
but again, it was a fantastic show. And honestly, like to me, probably the best show that kind of let people into what the culinary world is and was and still is.
fair statement.
Yeah. Next, I would say Grand Achatz.
You're,
From a what's that?
he is like the dude.
Yeah, I mean, like molecular gastronomy. Again, not the first person to do it, but kind of the first person to really push the envelope in the United States with a restaurant that was basically a full molecular gastronomy tasting menu. I mean, certain aspects of it had been used before, and none of the concepts he does, I mean, for the most part, are new. Some of them are, of course. Like filling basically sugar with helium and creating a edible balloon. I mean, that's pretty
Pretty cool.
revolutionary.
Pretty
Um,
fun.
yeah, and like
Pretty cool experience
yeah,
that
and
we
like
have had.
yeah, and because Mason and I both ate at Alinea, which is 3 Michelin stars in Chicago, which we've talked about that experience. I worked at Aviary, which is his high end cocktail bar, which was one of the world's 50 best restaurants when I was there. It's of course fallen off that list since I left, but um, it has, but not because of me. Um,
Hey, don't shoot yourself down. We
I
could
mean, you
say it's
never
a
know.
part of it, you
When I was
know.
there, they were on the top of the world. Now they're not. No, but and
Uh,
kind of they really like push the envelope and continue to push the envelope until this year. They were the only Michelin star restaurant in Chicago, because the other one previously had closed. And then actually Smith, which is another great restaurant in Chicago, just got their third star this year. They had 2 stars and they just got their third. So now there's only 2 3-star Michelin restaurants in Chicago, and Alinea has been that for God, I mean, a long time now.
Yeah.
Because they opened in 2005, and I think they got their third star in like 2007 or something like that. So a long time.
Yeah. Very long
Yeah,
time.
Grand
It's been
Rapids,
crazy.
the goat.
Crazy. Well, next on the list is this dude that probably a little less known to the majority of the world, but super influential in the front of house and creating one of the pathways for the fine wine world, which is
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Zraly. This guy uh, is a wine educator and then some. Has gone above and beyond for our world. Created Windows on the World School, Windows on the World the book, and just kind of a new style and way of teaching wine that
Mm-hmm.
related to the mass public or more majority of our restaurant world slash the general world in to make it more welcoming to everybody else.
I thought you were gonna
And
pull his book off the wall.
I really should have.
I thought you were
Yeah.
reaching for it. I'm like, what's he doing? But I was
No,
like,
no.
he's got a book up there.
It's in the other room. Although I thought about bringing, I probably should have just grabbed it, but
I
oh
know
well.
my copy's somewhere again in a moving box, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Huh.
fantastic author, fantastic in like what he did for hospitality and beverage and beverage directors. I mean, he was kind of like the I hate to like almost like the godfather of like modern wine, like selling wine, teaching about wine, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Again, not super known unless you're in the hospitality or maybe even more so the beverage world. Um,
Definitely.
yeah,
Yeah. I don't know if his name is known really outside of it too well, but he definitely has created a influential way that is seeped into the styles in which we teach today, which is great.
mm, yeah,
Still alive, at least I believe. I haven't checked in the
hmm
past few years.
yeah. I think so.
Uh, you know, you never know nowadays. It's kind of crazy, COVID and all that. Anyways, let's go back to being positive. Anyway, I hope he is alive and healthy because he was awesome. What a joy to just meet and chat with, and
Yeah,
remembers your name. If you've ever been in one of his seminars, it's something special. Definitely, like Kevin, if you are listening, thank you for everything you've done for me personally. I really appreciate it. That is just absolutely amazing. He tailors every single one of his uh, seminars to the group that he's teaching in the moment, which is awesome.
yeah, and
Um,
kind of a cool like note about Kevin Zarelli is he has won a James Beard Award for Lifetime Achievement, and then a James Beard Award for Outstanding Wine, Beer, or Spirits Professional. And he went to school at SUNY New Paltz, which is not far from CI at all. Like
no,
maybe 45 minutes north of Hyde Park. Um, and yeah, I mean his Windows on the World of Wine is like a Bible, a wine Bible, if you want to say. Um,
definitely.
yeah.
And next on the list is this super giant that kind of wrote a book for formatting front of house and hospitality in a way that uh, made a standard
Mm-hmm.
that I think a lot of people truly have called on, followed, and a business model that people still model their own businesses that they're creating after because it has worked, and that is Mr. Danny Meyer
Mm-hmm.
with the USHG Union Square Hospitality Group. Um, He wrote the book Setting the Table, which is a must read for anybody attending the CIA, the Culinary Institute of America,
I don't think I
and
ever read it.
really, it was a
I think
requirement of our classes and two of our different classes, which is funny.
I think I might have cliff noted that one. Or I feel like
uh,
I've read chapters of it, but I don't think I read the whole book.
yeah, well, I definitely did that twice and then reread and then cliff noted it for what I needed. But man, that guy worked for him at Gramercy Tavern, which was a grand time, and what a level of hospitality and style of family that he has created for the world of the hospitality, and just his dedication and passion for his style of service. One of the biggest known fast foods that we probably all know is Shake Shack. That is one of his creations, and they're all generally the same in its basic model, which is great.
I mean, their
Friendly
burgers
service,
are fantastic.
right? Good food, fantastic
Expensive,
service.
but good.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
food, fantastic service, and quick.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
gonna just leave you to it with Danny Meyer.
that's
Not a
totally
huge
fine.
fan, but but I can't take away what he's done for hospitality and kind of you know created a business model that was very successful for a long time. I mean, I can't take that away from the guy. So, and Shake Shack is good. If you're looking to spend $50 for two people to have burger, fry, and milkshake, I mean, it's right up your alley. Yeah, but the food's good. I
Uh,
mean, the
yeah,
only reason I say that is because Liv and I had Shake Shack while we were at the airport,
which is the most expensive place to get
which
Shake
is the
Shack?
most, but it's actually not that much more expensive than a normal Shake Shack because we had gone a couple weeks before, or maybe a month or two before, and we spent like $47 at a normal Shake Shack, and it was 52 and some change at the airport, and for
So it's
basically
like,
the same order. The Shake Stack, which is the cheese filled mushroom patty on top of a burger.
yeah, it's
Oh,
so
I
good.
mean, it's also the most expensive menu item you can get, but it's so good.
Oh yeah,
It's so good. And their milkshake is like the perfect consistency of like you don't have to wait for it to melt to start drinking it. It's like already like
perfectly melted for you.
yeah.
Yeah.
And their fries, I'm a slut for crinkle cut fries, so like I mean their food's good. Don't get me wrong. So actually, Danny
Uh,
Meyer, I love you, but no, I mean he's super super successful. Does he have any of his restaurants besides Shake Shack left?
yeah, he's got Gramercy Tavern,
Oh,
Union
Gramercy
Square
Tavern.
Hospital.
They reopened,
Yeah,
right? Oh yeah.
Union Square is open. I'm pretty sure almost every single one has opened. I don't, except for maybe like Blue Smoke. I don't think his smokehouse one reopened, but Manhattan, um,
That's right,
Daily
Manhattan.
Provisions, which is like high end coffee shop snack quick bite kind of thing. That's like I think the
Kid on the Block.
new kid on the block, but like I was gonna say the new Shake Shack, but in the Starbucks format, I guess.
Okay.
Maybe
A more expensive Starbucks?
yeah, basically.
Yeah,
Ooh.
no. But honestly, like I go to this local coffee shop, and honestly, it's more expensive than Starbucks.
Yeah,
Which I'm
local.
like, okay, it is what it is. I'm just not going to go anywhere for coffee now. I'm just going to make coffee at home. But like
Yeah,
a latte, I mean, it just goes to show you though, like Shake Shack's expensive, but like honestly, everywhere is expensive nowadays. So like, at least if you're going to pay the price,
pay for
go
something
somewhere
good.
local, go somewhere good, go somewhere that you like, and
Support local.
support local. All right, Mason. Well,
Yes,
shall
Adam.
we wrap this first pod of 2024 up?
Yeah. Well, what is the question of the day that we're asking our viewers, our guests, our listeners out there?
So the question of the day today is, which hospitality giant did we miss? Because we missed a ton of them.
A fuck ton.
Because this was, we're going on 45 minutes right now, and we could have named a ton more. So which hospitality giant did we miss? Mason, is there any that kind of on the top of your mind? Or maybe we touched on them briefly during this podcast that you want to give another shout out to?
Yeah. Um, Top of my mind that I want to give a shout out back to is definitely Kevin Zarelli. I want to really thank him for all that he's done for myself and pushed me to the next level. But in the side note, that's not notable, but notable because they did do something for the world, but also did stick it to us pretty hard. Is this lady, um, starts with an A and ends with and B is her last name. You know what I'm saying? Anne Burrell.
Hmm.
Fucking. Anyways, moving.
Hospitality giant. Fucking hospitality giant.
Definitely, for sure. And yeah. Anyways, moving on.
I got
Here
a
we go.
text. I got a text from Mason. What was that, yesterday?
Yeah.
And it was a screenshot of a Facebook memory.
Oh,
And it was
gosh.
basically like, I mean, it would have been 2015.
It was
Yeah, it would have
15
been
or
January
16. Yeah.
2015. And it was basically like Mason and I had been selected to do that cooking competition that we've talked about on this podcast before. And it was like a post that I had made and tagged Mason in, because Mason's not a big social media guy, and he's never been a big social media guy. So I like tagged him in this, like, oh, super excited for this cooking competition. And I get a text from Mason yesterday that I forget what exactly it was, but basically like, oh, we didn't even know we were gonna get fucked. And I was like, it wasn't that, but it was basically
It was that.
It was that, but
It
maybe
was that.
not like, yeah,
as direct.
not as direct. But you know me, my
Yeah.
love for the F word and my directness is always right on deck. So
It was perfect, honestly.
Yeah. And he's like, I don't want to. Well, I think it was like, I don't want to open old wounds, but remember when we got fucked by Andrew? I was like,
low blow.
Low blow. Mason, not in the mental headspace to hear this right now, but thanks, buddy.
Yep.
Appreciate
it was
you.
Definitely a good lifter, for sure. It made you just go fucking rage over here.
Yeah, it definitely made me laugh. Like, yeah, I looked at my phone and kind of like closed it right away and like just did like a little chuckle, and then I responded like later, and yeah.
Oh gosh. Oh. All right.
Yeah.
What about you? Any honorable mentions?
So we touched on this little guy earlier in the podcast, but shout out Remy from Ratatouille. If you can pull someone's hair under a chef hat and teach him, like, basically be a puppet master and teach an absolute schmedrick how to cook and make a ratatouille that's like perfect round of zucchini and eggplant with tomato. I mean, come on. Remy's the GOAT.
Yeah.
No, but on a serious note, I mean, yes, Remy's the GOAT, but in more on the real world side, got to give a shout out to Aldo Som. Aldo Som is really, really fantastic sommelier. He's in New York, but he won like the best sommelier award in Austria because he's Austrian like 5 or 6 years in a row, I want to say. And he has this really great book called Wine Simple. And, he's the Som at Aldo Som Bar in New York. And I think he's still the Som at Le Bernardin, too, isn't he?
I'm not sure, but it is all one area for sure. So
yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if it's all full shared, actually.
Yeah, and he's like best friends with Eric Repair, who owns Le Bernardin. So
he's probably running both programs.
Yeah, he probably is. I mean, and he's a master sommelier. Like, the man's a fucking beast, and he's like a professional bike rider too. Like, he races bikes and like does all these super long bike rides I see on his Instagram. And he also does these really fun Wine Fact Wednesdays on Instagram. So go check him out. Shout out Aldo Sam. And Mason, you know what I just realized?
Mm.
The next time we talk, it won't be
What?
on this podcast.
Really? Where was it going to be?
It's going to be in Vegas, baby.
Woo!
We're going to Vegas. We're going to
Let's
Vegas.
go.
Next podcast might be a bachelor trip recap. We'll see what happens.
We'll see what we can show to the public.
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas unless it's being talked about on the Assemblage Beverage podcast. But we might if we don't talk about it on the podcast, we might create a TikTok or a reel of some of our shenanigans on the old IG or on the old TikTok. We'll see. But yeah, Mason and I and some of my buddies are heading to Vegas this coming weekend. So we're T-minus like 72 hours from Vegas. Actually, no, a little bit more than that. But like
4 days.
Today's Monday, and we're
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and we're there.
Yeah,
Boom!
Friday afternoon, we're gonna be there.
It'll be blackout Friday evening. I mean, ready to go. Yeah. We're gonna have a great time.
So yeah, until next week, until after Vegas, I'm Adam.
I'm Mason.
And keep on blending.
blending.
Cheers, y'all.
See ya.
Peace.